Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's a big buzzword now, superfoods. We see it everywhere. And we think that it's extremely healthy and good for you, but is it really? We're going to dig into that and your health and your wellness, and let's see if these things that are called superfoods are really superfoods. She knows. She's Dr. Cecilia Cervantes, and she's with myquantumheal.com. Good to have you back on, Cecilia. How you doing?
Great to be here. It's wonderful. Very cold.
All right. First question out of the gate. Holidays are right here. Is eggnog a superfood? I'm just kidding. Wish it were. Spiked with a little whatever.
But rum. I like rum.
Yes, rum, and we know it's not a superfood, but it's super sometimes, depending on what you mix it with. What are considered superfoods, or the labels that are given? Not that they necessarily are, but which ones do you hear are being called superfoods right now?
Well, there are a lot of, it's a marketing ploy. People want to sell a certain something and make it special so that you can only get it from them. Mm-hmm. They use a lot of fruits for that, weird, unusual fruits from tropical countries or wherever, such as noni fruit or this or that. And they sell it in different ways, multi-level marketing schemes or what have you. But superfoods are really foods that are nutrient dense, that are going to give you value. Foods that we need to eat, that our body needs, and that we can use our food as medicine. Those are superfoods, and they're all around us. As long as they're good and clean and they're not full of toxins, they can be pretty super.
Okay. Give an example. What would you say is a superfood right now? Pick a vegetable. Let's go vegetable.
Spinach or cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all nutrient dense. And of course, you always have to be careful if you're on medications, are these foods okay for you to eat? Spinach, for instance, if you are on a blood thinner such as warfarin or Coumadin, has vitamin K, which is the antidote for the blood thinner. So you have to be careful and ask your doctor about those kind of things. But otherwise, those dark green vegetables, those brassica vegetables like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, they're nutrient dense foods. As long as they're grown pretty much organically, so they don't have any toxins in them or insecticides and things like that. That's what you want to be careful of.
Would it be reasonable to say that really any vegetable is a superfood, or is that just going a little too far?
Most any vegetable can be a superfood for sure. As long as they're going to have antioxidants in them, different nutrients, minerals that our body needs, magnesium, micro, trace minerals. We need this to function in our body, and we want to get enough of it. So we want to get nutrient dense foods. Back in the day, the farms were overfarmed and they didn't replenish the soils with nutrients. So we had big problems because of that, right? So it's important to put the nutrients back in the food, and that's why it's into the soil. That's why we do more sustainable kind of or farming where we're putting back compost and different nutrients into the soil, feeding the soil so that it feeds what we're eating, and it feeds us.
That's a lot of things we take for granted, that the nutrients have to be in there. A lot of us just think, it's dirt, plant, things grow. But if you're pulling a lot of stuff out of that dirt, you're replenishing what's in there. Here's what's been on my radar. It's called a superfood. I really, really want your take on it, and that is sea moss. Are you familiar?
No, it sounds like a sea vegetable, and sea vegetables can be a superfood because they have nutrients in them such as iodine and things like that are important.
I'm gonna just, if I may, let me see if I pull it up here, because I've heard so much about it, and I thought about ordering some, and because you can freeze it, you can mix it with different things. I'm told that it's got everything you need All right, here's the clevelandclinic.org, and they say the benefits, we'll just pass the benefits. Let's go to, yeah, you're right about the iodine, of course, um, that it's got almost 90% of the minerals that we need in sea moss. And to your point, it obviously comes from the sea. Um, it's usually farmed in the Caribbean, St. Lucia being one of the islands. But I'll dig up on more on that. But yeah, and I hear you don't even have to have a lot of it. Like a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons a day would be enough. But apparently, allegedly, reportedly, it's got all these things in it that we could use, and that's why people call it a superfood.
That's legitimate, if it's dense with the nutrients that you need and you don't have to take a lot of it,
Hmm.
um, why not?
Yeah, and I like what you said before, organic. Really, ever since we talked about that previously, that's what I search for. You pay more for it, but when you realize what is actually going on in our food supply and how many toxins and pesticides are in our food, it's like, yeah, go organic as long as it's certified and it's legit organic.
Yes, if it's might not always be certified, but if you know the grower,
Mm,
because getting certified is expensive, then speak to the grower and find out how they grow things. If you have time to visit where they're growing things, you can do that as well. But yeah, if you trust that it is grown in an organic fashion, um, yeah, that's what you want to take in, because there are so many toxins in the environment. It's out of control how many toxins there are. And this is what's also contributing to a lot of chronic disease. We need to look at this more carefully.
absolutely. It almost surprises me that we're not looking at it more carefully.
Well, I think we there's an attempt, but companies make a lot of money off of these products, and it takes a lot of money to clean their act up as well.
Mm.
So,
I say no more. Read the body language. I get it. Yeah. That, which comes back to you are your own health advocate. You're the one that's got to make sure what you're eating, buyer beware. It's all out there. If you can pick that and it is organic, that's your choice. Or you can pick the other stuff, maybe farmed by a big company or connected to a big company. Um, that's not going to clean up their act because it costs a lot of money. How about some of the other things that we could be or should be eating?
well, we talked about the dark green vegetables. Those are incredibly nutritious for us. Uh, fruits and vegetables are the big things. Citrus fruits are very good. Vitamin C, rich in vitamin C, good for our immune system. Um,
Okay, let me ask you a question because this one's on my radar as well. Had orange juice for the first time in I couldn't even tell you 5 years the other day. It was like, I remember that. This is pretty good. Okay. What are your thoughts on a glass of orange juice a day? Too much sugar, natural sugar in it, making sure it is real, fresh, squeezed orange juice as opposed to something else.
if it's fresh squeeze, good. A small glass of orange juice isn't going to hurt you. It is concentrated sugar when it's juiced. So that's what you have to be careful of. And if you have issues with blood sugar, if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic or whatever, uh, you don't want to have too much of that. So
Mm,
limiting that, you know, limiting drinks that have sugar in them in general, that have a lot of calories in them, and usually it's from sugar. You want to limit that and have more water.
So I'm taking away from this that there really is no health benefit. I mean, back in the day, it was vitamin C, have your orange juice, it's good for you. But what I'm hearing here is it's just a glass of potentially natural sugar, assuming it's fresh squeezed, but doesn't really seem that it's that beneficial for you.
It can be beneficial, yes. I'm not saying that it's absolutely not beneficial. It's
Okay.
just that it's a lot of concentrated sugar. Better that you eat the orange, because then you're also getting fiber.
Yeah. Okay. So what about this? Orange juice, apple juice, kind of the same thing. If you had to pick, which would you pick?
Hmm. Uh, I'm not sure. I think
Okay.
we're mixing apples and oranges here now.
I guess we are. Didn't mean to, but because my daughter loves apple juice, so I always have it in the refrigerator. And then I'm looking at, orange juice. Does it really come down to the amount of sugar content in there if you want to make that, more finite decision between the two?
Well, fresher is better, and orange juice may have a little more sugar. I believe that apples are going to have a lower glycemic index, so that the apple juice might be a little better. And you know what you can always do is flavor your water with the juices. That's another way of doing it as well.
So are you saying have a glass of water and just add a little bit of juice in there just to give it a little pop, a little flavor?
Or dilute the juice with some water.
Yeah.
So you're not getting as much sugar.
It's so funny. Uh, the other day I was running low on apple juice, so I did that. My daughter picked up on it right away. She right away. And it wasn't even a lot of water in there. But she's like, not this doesn't taste the same. Yeah, okay, you got me. I was running low, added a little bit of water to it. I would also think too that if you have digestion issues, if you're going to have that orange juice, it's going to be more acidic.
It's going to be a little more acidic. So yeah, that
All right. What are the other things we should be eating? I mean, we call them superfoods. What else is on your list of Cecilia approved food items?
Well, nuts and seeds are great snacks. Nuts and seeds, they have a lot of minerals in them, and trace minerals as well. It's got fiber in addition to that, so that so you're winning out. So you can snack on that instead of snacking on other junk food, say.
I would make one suggestion, and this is based on my experience. Take the portion and put it separate from the can of nuts or the jar of nuts, because I'll find myself just keep going at it. Like just grab in and working, grab another. And now you're looking at, you just had 4 or 5 servings and now you're being counterproductive, too much fat. Hopefully it's not too much sodium. I always pick, if I can, no salt added nuts.
Right. Yeah, you want no added salt. If you can have them raw, that's even better.
Mm.
Than anything else. So, and yeah, just a handful of nuts that'll get you through. It's got some protein in it. It's got some fats in it, but it's the nut fat, so it's better than fried foods or things like that, right?
Yeah. And I think we
Um,
also have to wait. Like you have that handful of nuts and you're like, okay, let me go for another one. Because I need a quick snack. But give it some time to get into your stomach and so your system actually realizes that you ate something.
exactly. We have a habit of just kind of hand to mouth, hand to mouth. That's a
Yep.
habit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you've got to, just kind of let it digest a little, because your stomach will eventually tell your mind you're full. You don't need any more.
Yep. And what else should we be eating?
Well, fermented foods are very good. Fermented foods have probiotics in them, so it's good for the gut. It feeds your gut. You can have sauerkraut is a fermented food. Pickles and things like that. Well, as long as it doesn't have too much salt in it, you
Mhm.
can make your own fermented foods. Kombucha is a fermented drink made with apple cider vinegar. Very healthy for you. Gives you back those probiotics.
Mm.
You can have that every day if you want it. It's just going to help feed your body, and get that gut, keep it in good condition. So fermented food's great for as a probiotic, as a natural probiotic, instead of having to take a separate probiotic. Have it in your foods. Kefir, which is made from milk, right? Milk product is kefir. They have cultures. You can make your own kefir, and it's excellent. I like to have that every so often, and you can have it with fruit. They make fruit flavored kefirs, so it's a nice little snack as well. Yogurt, very important. Uh, the Greek yogurt, very healthy, has a lot of good probiotics in it as well,
And
so that we're
protein.
feeding our body the nutrients that we need, and everything's working together so that we get that balance. Proteins, as far as proteins go, eggs is an excellent, it's the perfect protein. And you can have eggs, an egg every day.
Okay. I've always wondered about that, and because there is some cholesterol there, but is it good cholesterol in eggs?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's a natural protein, and there was a lot of hype about, oh, eggs are too much cholesterol. No, but if you cook it with a lot of oil or grease or whatever, if you fry them, then you're going to get more cholesterol. Some of the bad stuff. So you can have eggs in many different ways, but it is a perfect protein. Let's see what else. Tea. Tea is very good. Green tea, especially, very helpful. Has some chemicals in it that are anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory. So the foods that have anti-inflammatory properties have all these nutrients that are anti-inflammatory, help to reduce that cancer risk or disease risk. Any of those are very good. So have, a cup or two of tea a day, green tea especially, very helpful.
I gotta get into tea. I'm never thinking about it, but if I go somewhere and have it, I think, wow, this is good stuff. I maybe buy an assortment and start there. You know what I did start drinking, and I'm very curious your thoughts on it. Almond milk.
Oh yeah, nut milks are, yeah, you're not getting the lactose if you have lactose intolerance. Nut milks are very good. You can use them in smoothies as well.
Hmm.
Mhm. Mix them with different things.
I've actually found, I don't know, people can be picky about milk products and putting them on cereal. Once you get in the habit of doing anything, then you just continue doing it. It's all great. And
Yeah.
I was the same way. I started putting almond milk in cereal. I was like, it's a little bit different here. And now it's like I look forward to it. And I don't know why. I guess maybe because psychologically it's healthier. It's got a different flavor to it. It's still kind of rich and creamy. And I did find one costs a little bit more, but it's got 10 grams of protein in one serving, and you don't have to refrigerate it. So after opening, yes. But prior to that, I'll buy a few of them, throw them up on the shelf. Then I'm never going to run out. And it's perfect. 10 grams of protein. It's like having regular milk.
Yes, no, it's wonderful. It's got that little bit of a nutty flavor to it. You can add different things to it. You can have fruits
Hmm.
or different spices to it.
Didn't never thought of that.
You can flavor it with whatever you want, it makes it very easy.
All right, you started on proteins. What about meats?
Uh, Meat, if you're gonna have red meats, make it grass fed, again, the organic as much as possible.
Okay, let's go there.
Yes,
Grass fed.
yes,
What is the definition of that?
well, a grass fed means that the cow or the bison or whatever is out in the field eating grass. They're not caged up all
Okay.
the time, and they're eating good, fresh, clean grass. And hopefully the land doesn't have any toxins in it, heavy metals and things like that. That's the thing is, what is the animal eating? Are they eating, and are they getting shot up with steroids and antibiotics and things like that? Because if they are, then that's what you're getting as well when you eat it. So as clean an animal as possible. And if they're out there living the life, eating off the grass, that's even better. They're in a better mood as well. They're not in a stress condition, because
Yes.
you will get those stress hormones in you as well.
I'm glad you said that because I was just about to bring that up, and somebody brought that to my attention recently. Even this was an energy healer, somebody, a Reiki master, and they said the same exact thing, that what that animal is going through, you could be going through. You're eating what they're eating, and the stress. So the stress hormones that come from an animal that's stressed out, it's just I don't even want to think about that. How sad that may be. Um, how does that affect us?
Well, those chemicals are in the meat, and so then we're eating that as well. Exactly, you know, I just feel better about not having to, I've become more guilty about eating animals because my husband is vegetarian. And so I eat it just occasionally. And so I'm very careful as to what kind of animal I eat, and what kind of life they've had. And well, how were they, uh, processed? All those things are important. Um, Taking in that energy. There is this whole talk about energy. We've never talked about it
Yes.
in depth before, and we can always do that another time. But you take on the energy of whatever is in the field, whatever is out there, you know. And so you want to be careful about that as well.
I just got this visual of what life may have been like many, many years ago, where there was less disease, stress bringing, things that stress has brought on for all of us. And that goes back to our food supply. You think of, that cow, back in the day, he was just grazing, hanging out. That was his thing.
Yeah.
He became part of our food supply. But to your point, now it's a different situation potentially, and what they're going through. And same thing with all pesticides and everything. It's just go back 100 something years. What we were dealing with health wise and what we're dealing with now. Do you really feel that because of the situations of our food supply, that has a lot to do with it?
Oh, yes. And then we eat a lot more.
Mm,
Back in the day, we ate what we killed, and you didn't always, you didn't kill something every day. So you weren't eating a bunch of meat all the time. Like you weren't having a big barbecue fest.
yeah.
We gorge on meat nowadays. We gorge on these things, and that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case back in the day. And also, if you look at say the Native Americans, they would always honor the animal that they killed. There was that exchange of energy. It's like, thank you for feeding me. That gratitude is very important. We have gotten away from the gratitude, even though we celebrate Thanksgiving every year. It's usually a gorge fest, and it's like, well, I'm grateful for my life and for my health and for everything that comes to me and for my family, my friends. What are we grateful for? So that's important as well.
Mm. Yeah, that says a lot. And yes, on the meat side, it wasn't readily available back then. Now it's get whatever you want. Amazon will deliver. In 4 hours they'll have that meat, at your door or any other DoorDash, anybody,
And
Instacart. You got it when you need it. So yeah, we're just pigging out, and then you factor in what we said before, all the toxins, all the pesticides, all of that. Have they done research where you notice there's a huge difference in our health? I mean, they didn't do the same kind of research and numbers, back then, but is it a remarkable difference, in your view?
yeah, I think there's more chronic disease, more diabetes, heart disease, all these chronic diseases that we have now have increased. They've increased over time, and they've also increased with the electrification of the world. That's another toxin. Electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic radiation, more radiation on the planet as well from technology.
Wow. See, I don't even think about that. I was just thinking about the food, but these are all the things that are environmentally around us.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have to think of everything in a holistic manner, everything that affects us, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the dirt that our food grows on,
Yeah.
everything.
And it's also, we live in such a stressful time now that we feel that we deserve it. So I'll just pig out. It's okay. I worked really hard. I'm going to eat more. I'm going to eat. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to grab for it. Where you're just doing yourself, unfortunately, harm. It's okay to treat yourself, right? But
Right.
in the bigger picture, you're doing yourself, your body, your mind a disservice by doing that. But it's understandable because it's brought on by stress and conditions around us.
That's true. And it's also the thoughts that we think. They could be toxic as well. So then we're taking in all these toxins on all different levels. Uh, we need to develop more mindfulness uh, and and look at things and what's really important. What's important to our health and to our body. And what thoughts are we having? Are they happy thoughts, or are we always in stress mode? That's not healthy for us.
You find it stressful for you as a doctor with all the knowledge you have, especially when it comes to food. when you make your choices, does that add a layer of stress for you? Are you continually like checking labels and just looking at everything you eat?
It's become a habit to check labels. Where's this food? Where is it coming from?
Sure.
Where is it grown? Are there chemicals in it? All sorts of chemicals. What are the ingredients in the food? Um,
Hmm.
I do, it becomes a habit to look at that and to kind of get a feeling for yourself. How do you feel about this food? Does it look like it's right, or, is the color off? Does it look healthy?
Hmm.
Because you're going to put it in your body.
And, it's interesting too. Like we talk about that, we were just mentioning that you can have anything delivered at any time. So what does that also do? You're moving less, your body, getting the same exercise, and you're just clicking. So you're probably ordering things without really looking at the ingredients. You can look at them online, but a lot of us just, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that, check out. So when you start really microanalyzing a lot of this, it's what a different way of life. And again, the late 1800s or sometime around then.
Yeah, it's just a cleaner life to
Yeah.
really look at the food and taste it when you eat it, not just shove it down your throat. We live in a fast-paced world, and we tend to eat fast and think fast, and everything's fast, fast, fast. That doesn't feel very good, and it's not good for you.
Yeah.
You need to digest. You need to take your time, and you need to enjoy what you're eating and what you're thinking, and everything that you do, living more in the moment.
I think, Cecilia, digest is the best word because, of course, food digestion, but digest everything around you, your thoughts, everything. Take it all in as opposed to just, crank it on out and, live faster, which is not helping us, just adding to the stress.
Yeah, otherwise we're just a rat on a wheel.
Exactly.
Not a nice life.
No, not at all. I can't believe the holidays are just about here. Here we go again with more bad food choices coming.
Or we can make better choices. This is the time of year where you can sort of sit back and reevaluate your life.
Yes.
Make some decisions. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with anything. Pick one thing that you might want to get rid of that doesn't serve you, and pick something else that you want to start doing more of, like going out and enjoying nature, going for a walk, and then you're getting some exercise.
Yep. And just what you said, pick those things out that don't serve you. That also includes people. Just saying.
Sometimes, you have to just let go of things and of people also, especially if they're toxic and they don't realize it. Bless them and let them go, I say.
Yep. Say that again.
Bless them and let them go.
Bless them and let them go. I like that because it's a more positive parting.
Yeah.
Cecilia, always great having you with us. Your website is myquantumheal.com. So much information there about everything we're talking about and also everything that you can offer, and many things that you offer can be done virtually. And I thank you. And I also want to thank you for being here and wish you and your family a very happy holiday.
Yes. Happy holiday to you and to everyone out there.
Yep. All right. And either we'll catch up next week or in the new year.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Be well. Be coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home. that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.